Good morning, Tahmina Khan is here, and in today's videos I will explain you the concept of linear law, which is a topic of additional maths O-level CAIE syllabus. The code is 4037. So before I begin, you can see on the top the blog address where I have put up link of all my videos which I have made so far. So let's start. What is linear law? Linear law, as you know, all of you know that linear equations are y is equals to mx plus c, and graph of such equations are a straight line graph, right? Slant, horizontal, vertical, whatever, depend on the equation. So basically we can say when we are talking about linear law, it is a relationship of two variables, like what we know x and y are variables, which may not be in a linear trend. Now what do we mean by this, which may not be in a linear trend? Means the equation maybe look like y square equals to x plus y plus 3, something like this, right? So if equation does not look like that, it is a linear law or in a linear form, but you modeled it as a straight line, it means now you change it. How? We will learn in this chapter. So we know that linear law has this equation, and you know what is special about this equation? There are three terms. One term has only variable, the other term has constant and variable, and one term has only constant, right? So whatever the equation will be given to you, and if you have to transform it into linear law form, you will keep in your mind that equation changes into three terms, where one term is only variable, one term is only constant, and one term has constant and variable both. Okay, so this is important about it. Now, when we say modeled as a straight line, now my x-axis and y-axis may not only be x and y all the time. My y-axis may have LGY, y over x, x plus y. These are just few examples, right? Similarly, my x-axis may be x plus y, 1 over x, y square, LGX. Again, these are just few examples. We will see in a while how do we transform equation, or if it is given to you, then how do you answer the questions. So basically there are two types of questions which are part of syllabus. Number one, the graph will be given to you and you have to interpret the equation of a straight line, right? So I have picked up two questions from past paper to explain this concept. And second question is that you have to transform the given equation into straight line form, which is y is equals to mx plus c form. Now because the equation which is given to you will not be in a linear form and you are changing it into this form, so when you will plot a graph of that, it may not be able to take all the points on the line. So when you will plot the points and you will draw the line, you will try to put most of the points on the line. So you will set your ruler in such a way. That's why the graph you made is called line of best fit graph, right? Few points may be little off from the line. So let's pick up the example. Okay, so the first example I have picked up is from June 8 paper 1, question 4. In this graph, in this question it is said variable x and y are such that when e power y is plotted against x square. Now e power y is plotted against x square means this is your y-axis and this is your x-axis, okay? Is plotted against x square. It is a straight line graph and it is passing through these 2 points. Now the graph is also given to you in the question. It is just like this. I have drawn here a small graph for you. So now these points are basically not just x, y. This is my x square and this is my e power y. The coordinates represent whatever is written here and here. If it is written here x only, then this coordinate is x coordinate. Right now this is x square coordinate and this is e power y coordinate. Similarly here, x square coordinate and e power y. Do not call it x and y. Okay, so now keep this graph in your mind, and there are two questions. One is find the value of e power y when x is 0. And second is express y in terms of x. So let's answer this question first. Okay, find the value of e power y when x is 0. By the way, before going further, let me tell you one thing. On the past paper, the question is given on the plain page. If the grid is made here, right, x equals to 0 mean I'm talking about this side. So I could extend the line and I see where it would cut this vertical line, and my vertical line is e power y. So whatever is this answer, that is the answer of e power y when x is 0. But this was given on a plain page. So I have to find out through working. I cannot extend the line here. Okay, so now this is linear law form, and this is I have picked up from graph. My y-axis was e power y. My x-axis was x square. So I'm replacing x by x square and y by e power y. And m and c as it is. So now I will find out what is my m and c. And then I will find out the value of e power y when x is 0. So basically whatever my value of c will be, that will be my answer, because I just explained it to you and I will explain it to you again. Okay, so there are 2-3 ways. I can find the value of m using this formula. You remember the gradient formula? y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. In coordinate geometry you have done that. So these points which are given to me on the graph, I can apply gradient formula and find the value of m. Or I can substitute these points here and here. Now important thing is, if you notice, this is my x square. So I'm replacing 0.2 by the whole x square. I'm not writing 0.2 square, okay? Because 0.2 is not just x, it is x square. And similarly, 1 is not just y, it is e power y. So I'm replacing the whole of this by 1. And how do I get this information? From the graph only, okay? So I'm substituting the point and making one equation. Then I'm substituting this point and making another equation and solving simultaneously to get the value of m and c. Okay, can you see I got the value of m and c? Now, one way to find out the value of e power y when x is 0 is very quick. I just explained to you that in this case my c is e power y. Reason is, when x is 0, whatever the value here on the vertical line is representing the value of e power y, right? Makes sense? So I can say, okay, when x is 0, e power y is 0.6 directly. Or if you cannot recall this thing, or if you cannot immediately make connection, then you can substitute the value of x here in the equation linear law form, because you have just found the value of m and c. So your linear law is already modeled in a straight line form. So substitute x equals to 0, solve the equation and get the value of e power y, which is 0.6, right? If you think the explanation is fast, you can put it on pause and try to recall or try to listen again. It will help you to understand. Second part of the question was express y in terms of x. Now this equation we have already obtained, linear law form of the from the graph. Now I have to make y a subject because question is saying express y in terms of x. So to bring y down, I am taking ln on both sides. Here I would like to tell you, do not make a mistake of writing ln with both the terms. When we take ln in any equation on both sides, we consider one term on each side. So that's why I'm putting it in the bracket, right? And it doesn't mean this into this plus this into this, not at all. Okay, so I'm applying power law. Y is going down here and ln e is 1. So this is the equation of y in terms of x. Now let's see another question. This of the same type, right? The graph is given to you and you have to answer the questions. This question I have picked up from June 11, paper 1, question 6. Okay, so this graph was given to you. My y-axis is LGY and my x-axis is x. and these 2 points are given to you. Again, it is on the plain page, it is not on the grid. Okay, so this is my x coordinate and this is my LGY coordinate. I'm repeating, the coordinate depends whatever is written here. Do not take them as just x and y. Right now it is x because x is written here. Similarly, this is your x and this is your LGY, right? Okay, so coming back to the question, first part of the question is saying express LGY in terms of x. So let's see this part first. So just like we did in the previous question, I'm writing linear law form and replacing y and x by the values given to me on the graph. So on my y-axis it was written LGY and on the x-axis it was written x. So I'm replacing it. Now I have to find out m and c. These points are given to you on the question on the graph. This was your x and this was your LGY, not just y. Now again, to find out m, you can apply gradient formula, right? Or you can plug in these values here and here and solve simultaneously to get m and c. I have done both ways here. So first I have done substitution. So I'm replacing LGY by 3, okay? You see, students make mistake, they write here LG3. They only replace y by 3, which is wrong. Because according to graph, this is not just y, this is LGY, okay? Anyways, so I'm substituting the values here, you can see. And then I'm solving both the equations simultaneously to get the value of m and c. So m is half, and here I have just done formula method, right? Gradient formula. So m is 1/5, and then to find out c, I'm plugging in one of the equation the values, and I got my c, which is 2. Okay, so now I have my equation LGY is equals to mx plus c. C is 2 and m is 1/5. So I have expressed LGY in terms of x, because question was saying express LGY. In the previous question it was saying express y in terms of x, right? So read the question carefully. Let's see what is second part of the question. Okay, so the second part of the question is saying show y is equals to this. Now you have gotten this thing from part 1. Now you can see there is no 10 given here. Can you see there is no 10 given here? And what you have to show it is in with base 10. So what I'm doing, I am writing LG10 with both the terms. You must remember from log that LG10 is 1. So if I multiply this term by LG10, it means it is x/5, because this whole part is 1. 1 multiplied by anything will not change the question, only its form. Make sense? Similarly here, 2 I am multiplying by LG10. LG10 equals to 1, so 2 ones are 2. So this is helping me to bring the equation into this form. I am not changing the question, okay? Okay, after that, now I am applying power law. So this is actually x/5. So I am taking it up here, power law. Similarly, I am taking 2 up here, power law. Now why I am doing this? So I can apply product rule. Can you see in this question, they are multiplying. So that is giving me an idea that I have to multiply the term. So once I have all the logs with the same base, this term and this term can multiply. So it will become 10 square is 100, right? LG 100, and this is 10 power x/5. So now I'm multiplying them. Okay, and after that because now I have one term on each side, so I can remove LG and it will be y is equals to 100 times 10 power x/5. So you can see it is the same form in which you have to prove. So your A is 100 and your B is 1/5, because question was saying show it into this form. right? So you can say your A is 100 and your B is 1/5. So let's see another question in which you have to draw a graph. Now this question I have picked up from June 12th, paper 2, question 7. Right, now in this example and in the next example, I will plot the graph. Okay, so table is given to you. The question is saying these are experimental values. By plotting a suitable straight line graph, show that y and x are related by this equation. So now it is not telling you what a straight line means. The linear law form is not given to you. Like in the previous question, it was told to you e power y is plotted against x square. So that was a great hint. You knew that e power y is your y-axis and x square is your x-axis. Now here question is saying that by plotting a suitable line using this equation, okay, and a straight line mean I have to change this equation or transform this equation into linear law form. Now these points are basically for this equation. So if you will plot them, it will not be a straight line. So let's change this equation, which is not linear, into linear law form. Okay, so this is the equation. You see I have written from here and I have to bring it into this form. There are 3 terms. Again, I'm telling you, one term is only variable, one term has constant and variable, and one term is only constant. So I'm taking LG on both sides. And what made me think like that? Because I want to bring B down. So if I will have LG here, I can apply power law. This is what I'm thinking. Fine. So I'm taking LG on both sides. If you want to take ln on both sides, you can do that also. There is no problem. Anyway, so I'm taking LG on both sides. First of all, I'm opening it with the help of product rule. So it is LGA plus LGXB. Then I'm applying power law. B is here. Now if you look at this, this term has only variable. This term has only constant. And it has constant and variable. So it is already in this form. Can you notice? So now my LGY is my capital Y. My LGA is C. B is my M. And LGX is my X. So now I will plot or make a new table which will have LGX and LGY, and I will use these points. So the table I will make now will have LGX and LGY. So to find out this value, what I will do? LG5. Whatever the answer will be, I will write here. Because now I will have here LGX. Okay. Then I will take LG30. Whatever the answer will come, I will write here. So I will use calculator to find out the new values of the table. And what I will do here, because this will be my LGY now. So using calculator, I will find out LG 8.9 value and write here. So let's make a new table of LGX and LGY using these values. Okay, so here I have made a new table. So this table is LGX and LGY. So all the values of X given to me there, I have found new values with LG, those values, right? It was 5, 30, whatever. So after making this table, now you have to plot a graph. Now plotting a graph is very important because in the graph paper, in the question, you were not given the scale of the graph, right? So students always find it, most of the time, not always, find this plotting also difficult. So you see, along the x-axis, I'm going maximum till 2.6 and along the y-axis, not more than 2. So what I have done here, you can see here, I am taking 2 boxes equals to 1. So this is my 1, 2, 3. So this is my LGX. And for LGY, I'm taking 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes, right? Equals to 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 equals to 2. So scale I have decided depending on my values because I have to use 75% of the graph paper, right? Now very important thing, how to read the values here. If this is 1, this is 0.5, then what is this? This is mostly a difficult part for a student. So what I would suggest, there are many ways, but what I have experienced or which a student find easy is to find the reading of one box and then use unitary method. Now what do I mean? I will explain to you. I can say 1 unit equals to 20 boxes. Can you see? 5, 5, 10, 5, 15, 5, 20. So I can say 1 unit is equals to 20 boxes. So this is for x-axis, I mean LG x-axis. And here I can say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So I can say 40 boxes equals to 1 unit along LGY. So let's see how we will find out the points to plot here. Okay, so what I have done here, I have first of all plotted all these points, right? Basically I have marked this. So I know that 1 unit equals to 20 boxes. So what is 0.7 unit equals to? So 0.70, here is nothing. I did cross multiplication like in unitary method we do. So I found it is equals to 14 boxes. Similarly for 1.5, I said okay, 1.5 equals to how many boxes? So again I used cross multiplication and I found it. So similarly for all these values I have found the box number. So box number is easy to count. Okay. Similarly here along the LGY axis 1 unit is equals to 40 boxes. So for these values, okay, I have found the boxes basically. So 0.95 equals to how many box? I did cross multiplication. Okay, so similarly I know all the boxes now, so that made my plotting easy. So you see, that's why when the first was saying 14 boxes, so it is 5, 10 and 14 was coming here. It means 14 boxes. And then from the LGY it was coming 38 boxes, right? So 5, 10, 15, 30, 35 and then 3. So this is how I have marked this point. So similarly I have marked rest of the points and I have drawn a straight line. You can notice this is not on the line exactly, this is not. But I tried to put a line in such a way so that most of the points are on the line or close to the line. So that's why it is called line of best fit. Now important thing, sometimes a student draw this line and they draw from here till here only. Please extend the line and show this interception, because this value you need to need for the calculation, right? So my C was LGA. I will show you again if you've forgotten. So the value here is representing LGA because this is my C. Y is equals to mx plus C, right? So now come back here. So can you read this value? When I will show you, you can understand. Reading of this is difficult. So what I am doing, I said, okay, how many boxes from here? So I said, okay, 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay, 24 boxes. So I will see what is 24 boxes equals to, right? So using this method, if 1 unit is 40 boxes, then 24 boxes equals to what value? So I did cross multiply and I got 0.6 answer. Okay, I got 0.6. Let me write here. So this is how I have found the value there where it is intercepting the graph. Okay, so my graph is LGY equals to B, LGX plus LGA. Okay. So, and how did I get this? Because it is Y is equals to MX plus C, right? Okay, so now my LGA is equals to 0.6. So A is equals to 10 power 0.6. So I got my value of A. For the value of B, I am applying the formula. Now I am applying which values? The values of this graph which I have found after calculation. And which points I have picked up? I have picked up this point and this point. 0.95 minus 1.7 and 0.7 minus 2.2. Why did I pick up these 2 points? Because when I plotted the graph, these 2 points were exactly on the line and they were little off from the line. Okay, so you pick up those 2 points which are exactly on the line to get more accurate answer. Okay, so now after getting the value of B and A. Now I'm writing this equation. This is my gradient value, which was B, and this was my value of A. So question was LGY is equals to MLGX plus LGA. So you have found this equation so far. Okay, the second part of the question was saying estimate the value of y when x is 100. Now in this question, the examiner is not restricting you to use the graph which you have drawn, right? So it has given you options, so you can use formula to calculate it or you can use graph. So I'm teaching you both ways, right? So whatever you like. Most of the time they restrict you using the graph. Okay, anyway, so when x is 100, what is the value of y? So you have gotten this equation or you have this equation also. You have already calculated the value of A and B, right? So if you want to substitute the value of x here and want to calculate y, it's fine. If you want to use this equation, the modeled straight line or linear law, fine, you can see answer is same. Or if you want to use graph, what you will do? Question is saying when x is 100, but on the graph paper, you don't have x, you have what? LGX, right? So what you will do, you will change it into LGX. So you are taking LG on both sides. Now your LGX is LG100, which is equals to 2. So on the graph paper, you will see where is 2. Here is 2. You go and mark a line there and then read this value. Now this value is actually LGY, it is not Y. And how I'm reading this? I counted the boxes from here, remember? How did I count the boxes? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 64. And then this method, it is y-axis, so 1 unit is 40 boxes, so 64 boxes equals to how many unit? So using that method, I found that value is 1.6. So my LGY is 1.6. But according to question, I have to find the value of y. So y is equals to 10 power 1.6. So it is equals to 39.8, right? So now let's see another question. I hope it is clear to you. So one more example in which we will plot a graph. Now this question I have picked up from November 9, paper 2, question 3. Now the question is saying the table is showing experimental value for this equation, right? So now you can say this is not in a linear trend form, so you have to change this equation. Now let's see what is question telling you further. Question is saying using graph paper plot x square y against x. So now here hint is given to you that your y-axis will be x square y, right, like this, and your x-axis will be x. So these values will remain same because they are representing x-axis, but here you need to draw or calculate new values, which will be x square y, mean x square y, 2 square is 4, 4 multiplied by this. So whatever the answer will come will be written here. Then for this value you will use 4 square is 16 because it is x square y. 4 square is 16, 16 multiplied by this. Whatever the answer will come, you will write here. So in this way you will transform the whole new graph, which I have done here for you. You can see x square y. So using this graph, I have changed it here. Okay, so now I have to plot this graph, okay, for these values. So you can see here, my x-axis is x, and because the values on the table were from 2 to 10, so it's easy for me. I have taken 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And y-axis has values, let me show you again, from 25 till 105. Okay, so I have taken 4 boxes like 10, 20. 20 boxes equals to 25, 50, 75, 100 and 125. I forgot to write here, but you can write here, right? And then I'm plotting these points. This plotting was easy. So according to this table, it was 2 plotted against 25. So you can see 2 and 25. Then it was 4 and 45, which is here. Now if it is difficult, again you can use unitary method. I have done here for you. You can see 20 boxes are equals to 25. So I have written here 20 boxes equals to 25, and then I'm picking up the values from here. You can see 64 is written here. So 64 equals to how many boxes? So I have calculated here boxes also for my easy marking. So this is how I have plotted this graph. And again, important thing, I will not plot just till here, rather I will show the interception here because I need this value. Okay, so now the first part of the question is saying use your graph to find the value of a and b. Now first of all, I need to change this given equation into linear form. And what was my linear form? X square y is plotted against x. So what I'm doing, I have to change it into this form. So I am taking LCM. It will become x square. It will become ax plus b. And then I will cross multiply. So let me show you stepwise. So I have to change this equation into this form. Here I should have x square y, and here I should have x. So what I'm doing, using this equation, I'm taking LCM. After LCM, I'm taking cross multiplication, and I just change the positions of these two terms. So this is my only variable, constant and variable, and only constant. So perfect form. So this is my gradient m, and this is my c. The question is saying use the values from graph to find the value of a and b. So for a, I told you to see the interception point, right? So because your a is basically your c, which is your interception point. Okay, so I see here the number of boxes 1, 2, 3, 3.5 boxes. So I use this unitary method. The 20 boxes representing 25 unit. So 3.5 box will represent how many units? So I did cross multiplication and I got 4.375. So my A is 4.375. And to calculate B, which is my gradient, just pick up 2 points from the table which are on the line. Most of the 2 points which are best on the line. So I have picked up this point and I have picked up this point because these two were exactly on the line. You can see, let me show you again. Here you can see they're exactly on the line.